All right, we are back in session as the Board of Equalization. Just to let you know that we do video this. It is available on YouTube. So if you want to watch yourself later, you're more than welcome to do that. I never do that. Let's go ahead and have everyone that's going to participate in a hearing at the 10 o'clock hour be sworn in by our deputy clerk.
You're going to be speaking for your hearing. If you'll please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
And just to let you know, these three were sworn in the 9 o'clock hearing, so they're already under oath. So this is a hearing of the Board of Equalization under Idaho Law 63501. The Board of County Commissioners is required to convene as the BOE. We are here to determine market value under Idaho Code 63205. All real, personal, and operating property subject to property taxation must be assessed annually at market value for assessment purposes as of 12:01 a.m. of the first day of January in the year in which such property taxes are levied. Furthermore, under Idaho Code 63502, the function of the Board of Equalization shall be confined strictly to assuring that the market value for assessment purposes of property has been found by the assessor, and to the functions provided for in Chapter 6, Title 63, Idaho Code relating to exemptions from taxation. It is hereby made the duty of the Board of Equalization to enforce and compel a proper classification and assessment of all property required under the provisions of this title to be entered on the property rolls. And in so doing, the Board of Equalization shall examine the rolls and shall raise or cause to be raised or lower or cause to be lowered the assessment of any property which in the judgment of the board has not been properly assessed. The taxpayer shall have the burden of proof in seeking affirmative relief to establish that the determination of the assessor is erroneous, including any determination of assessed value. A preponderance of the evidence shall suffice to sustain the burden of proof. We're here to discuss the market value of the property, the condition, state, or information that is relevant to this topic. This is fact and not conjecture or things that you may think. We're not here to discuss taxes, past grievances, policy, personal income, or other issues. If you do not stick to the discussion as requested, your time will be reclaimed. So this is the process that we're going to do. The property owner will sit here. You'll have 3 minutes to give us your side of the story. The white light comes on at the beginning. The yellow light comes on when you have 1 minute left. When the red light goes off and the buzzer goes off, then your time is up. If the assessor's table has questions about what you said, we'll answer those questions. And then the assessor will be given 3 minutes, and then the appellant will be given, if there's questions about what the assessor says at this time, we'll answer those questions. And then the board will have a discussion. The rules are to be kind, direct all questions or comments to the board. If your conduct is out of line, you will be warned. If your conduct continues to be out of line, you will be asked to leave or escorted out of the facility. All right, Robinson and Rose. Please state your names for the record.
Mary Rose.
Johnny Robinson.
Desiree Robinson.
And then your 3 minutes will begin. Go ahead and have a seat. You can relax.
Okay. Well, we feel like the assessment is off because their property, for one, is on a very slopey hill, and so we can only use a small portion of it. Sorry, I'm nervous.
No, relax.
Also, it's like we can only use it, it's recreational, and we can only use it part of the year. Through the winter, we can't, the gates are locked, and we can't get in there.
Yeah, there's no structures up there. I know
Oh,
there's
yeah.
been a lot of building up in that area. I'm sure it affects property values. We have no structures on there. The assessment went up from last year 24,000 up to 79, which is over 300% increase in 1 year. Just seemed a little excessive for 1 year increase. Anything else to add?
just adding that the main part is the slope, like it's non-usable land because we're looking into a ravine. So we have a picture of the property, and when you go in, it's maybe an acre and the rest goes straight down. It's very slope and then into a ravine. So the usable part of the property is not accessible to build or anything, to my knowledge, that, because it's such a steep slope.
Extremely
Yeah.
hard.
Okay. Questions?
No questions?
All right. The assessor's table, your 3 minutes begin now.
Okay, so we're looking at a 4.5 acre parcel up in Thunder Mountain, which is slightly bigger than most of them. Most of them are around 3.5 acres or so. And there's been some recent sales in the area that show that our assessment is right in where it should be as far as value. Most of those parcels have slope. They have, it's in the mountains. People buy land in the mountains because it's in the mountains. And it's pretty. So, our policy is that we take a lump sum, put it on that first acre, and then we add additional acreage at a lower value. And so, that parcel, most of it's on a slope, but some of it is, that first acre is just kind of at the top, looking down. So it kind of conforms with our policy of valuing, the additional acreage at a lower value. So when we brought all the parcels in Thunder Mountain up to market value, we placed the same $46,000 lump sum on that first acre, and then valued all the additional acres at the same per acre base rate. And any difference in values up there would be based on basically, how big or how small the lot is. As you know, we had a lot of calls from Thunder Mountain when the assessments first came out, and our office went over on a Saturday and talked with a large number of the property owners, and they asked us to do an additional market analysis to see, if we were in line or not. And when we did show that that our original market analysis was correct, and so the property values are in line with and equitable with each other. So we would respectfully request that you uphold the values in order to remain in compliance with the state and all that stuff.
Okay. Do you have a question about what they just said?
When was it last assessed? Like,
Prior to.
Okay, all discussion comes right here.
okay. Just wondering when it was last assessed, because this is year to year is over 300% increase. That was the big concern.
Yeah,
And then you're,
And the slope, because
So,
like
yeah.
even as you're saying, ours is, the top of it, yes, is
Yeah, we got
usable the
about
first
acre.
acre, but that is a steep slope, and we've walked other lands, and it's, sorry. And we have walked, and it's so steep on our particular property that you cannot build on that.
Okay.
well, we assess it every year. We try to get out and once every 5 years and actually do a site visit. We were throughout Thunder Mountain 2 years ago. We drive around all over Thunder Mountain. I've been out there a couple of times, maybe not this particular parcel, but we do an assessment every year, and we do a site visit every 5 years. So. Oh, that's right. So last year's value, we had a bunch of converted values up in that area, and in order to make it equitable, we set those converted values at the 24,000 and change. I don't remember the exact number, but this year we actually took those converted values out and brought them up to market value based on the sales analysis.
Commissioners?
No, I'm looking at that, and I feel your pain on the steepness, but as the assessor has said, they've gone through and equalized that, so everybody's kind of the same. We've talked to a couple other people that have come in, and we've been pretty consistent, so I would agree that the assessor's value is probably where it's at.
And just for comment, looking at the last 5 years, it's been pretty flat. I mean, which means that you guys have gotten a break when other people their values have gone up around the county. And then we come back to, you your property has one building, right?
No,
No
we have
buildings.
no buildings, nothing.
No, you don't have a building on there. But them properties do have the right to put something there,
Correct.
which means that you have a building right,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
and the opportunity to do that.
Okay,
So that's what the first 41,000,
46,000.
46,000. That's what the first 46,000 is, because you do have the right to do that.
so
Which
one,
mean-
one building, is that gonna increase the value?
As soon as you put a property on there, on that,
Structure.
an improvement on that property, then it goes up in price. But that just says that you have that right.
Okay,
And so that's what the first one is. And then, like you say, the other acreage is for offset from your neighbors, or the view, or something of that nature. And so that's the adjustment. They've gone in and actually looked at them this year
Okay.
and made them adjustments. And you are probably the 10th people that have come in from that area this year. And each one of them, this is kind of the explanation we have, as we make equality of value throughout the county. Commissioners? Motion?
Mr. Chair, on parcel RP RRTM 2000700, make a motion that we uphold the assessed value.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we've upheld their value. In a couple of weeks, you're gonna get a letter that's gonna say what happened here. If you're not in agreement with that, you have the ability then to appeal to the state tax bill or to go to the district court.
Okay.
But as far as this board is concerned, your hearing is over. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
The Joneses.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then your 3 minutes will begin.
Okay, I'm Hal Jones. This is
Kathy
Kathy.
Jones.
And we're ready to roll?
We're ready.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for taking the time to see us. We do appreciate it. And the things that we would like to discuss are the things that I wrote down in the appeal form. I don't know if you all have that in front of you, but I'll go through that just for the record. It says the property is in Downey, part in the city, part in the county. Property is unusable, no water, no electricity, no sewer, mostly unfenced. The city of Downey is losing population. The bank closed this year, and the future in Downey looks grim. As I looked at your appraised value of the property, it increased 60%, which doesn't sound like much because I listened to the $9 million evaluations of some of the banks, or not the banks, but some of the hotels and things, so it seems like a pittance as far as that is concerned. But I recommended a reevaluation of a 10% increase as opposed to a 60% increase that you appraised the property at.
Okay, questions?
Don't have any questions.
Your 3 minutes begin now.
Okay, so there were some bare land sales in Downey this year. The thing about this parcel, the subject parcel, it's a very large parcel. It's almost 7 acres, or 8 acres, 7.69 acres. The land sales that we could find were all at least not more than half an acre. They're quarter acre lots. And they were selling around $3 or so, $1 a square foot, $3.11 a square foot. And we've got this 7.69 acre parcel in at 15 cents a square foot. It's a very large parcel. We understand there's some restrictions on that property that the city of Downey's put in. And there's been, ever since we became aware of that, there's been a 40% appraiser adjustment on that property based on our knowledge that it's we're unable to develop it or put water on it or run cows on it. They've got some restrictions on there. So we went ahead and for years this has been on there. Well, I think since 2021. And we're going to leave those restrictions already on there, and that's already reflected in the value of the assessment that we have. So if it were to go on without the full restriction or the restrictions, the full value would be $74,000 $608. And so, based on the fact that we've already got that 40% reduction on it, we ask that the current assessed value be upheld at $51,560.
Questions about what he just stated?
No questions.
Commissioners?
This is another one where the BOE, we've adjusted the value for a couple of years, and you're kind of getting the catch-up blues. And then looking at the other properties around, it looks like we're fairly well assessed. And I'm glad you brought up the adjustment you guys are making for that, which I believe addresses Mr. Jones's concern.
So,
Go ahead.
how much is in the city? How many acres or what?
Most of it. I think there's about a 40-foot easement on the west side that is actually county property, from what I understand.
Okay. And so kind of just like the other people I just talked to, you could build on that ground. Somebody
Yes,
could.
Absolutely could.
Good. So,
Absolutely.
and that's the 41,000, 46,000 right off, and then the other acreage. So 51,560 doesn't, yes ma'am.
I was just gonna say, that back portion, there's no easement to get back there. And so there's nothing that you can do with it. And we've already gone to the mayor and everything, and they have a restriction where we can't put any type of animals or anything on there, which it
Within the
has
city.
no water anyway,
Yeah.
so.
But you would still be able to build. Somebody
Right
could
on the
build.
very
Sure.
portion.
On just out of the total acreage, 1 acre of it could be built on.
Absolutely.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry about that. It's my brother. But, so, like I say, just like we've done over in Lava in that area, I mean, there is a buildable lot. And so
Right.
that value has to be acknowledged right off. And
I
then the other
understand that.
is very cheap. And like they just stated, if you're at 18 cents an acre or whatever, that's pretty cheap property.
No, I understand that. Is there a,
15 cents.
oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Can I ask you a question? So could we expect this much of an increase again next year? Or is that $40,000 that you're talking about, the building property, a one-time shot? I mean, does that make sense?
I wouldn't say that there would be this type of an increase. This is an adjustment kind of from BOE and how the assessor's office is looking at all property throughout the county. It's an equalization
Right,
across.
right.
I can never guarantee you that it won't go up in value. I mean, if somebody comes in and I wanted to put a hotel in Downey, values are going up. If they put a grocery store in Downey, values are going to go up.
Sure.
But at this point, yes, sir.
If those restrictions were ever lifted, of course, then it would come up to full market value at that point.
Absolutely.
But until then, who knows, it just kind of depends on.
But it just doesn't seem like the property values ever decrease when things go out, like the bank and the store and so. I guess that's just, yeah.
You're a Downey boy, so I'll just tell you this. No, we're even now on video. But we had the American Legion here talking about the funds, and most of them were from Swan Lake.
Sure.
They said Swan Lake's growing, we got a store back, and Downey's dying.
That's true.
It was pretty cute. A natives, you know?
Yeah, that's how we roll.
Yeah. Comments or questions? The motion?
No. Mr. Chair, on parcel RPRDCPD 006001, I make a motion that we uphold the assessed value.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye. So you will get the letter in a couple of weeks, says what's gone on. Along with that, you have the ability to appeal further. If you want to go to the state or to the district courts. Other than that, this hearing is over.
Thank you,
Thank you.
commissioners. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Good to see you.
All right. Looks like we have, what is that? Is that an IL?
Emilio?
Emilio. Can't hardly read it up there still. Any comments on this one?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that we actually used his house as a comparable. We bought it recently. And we have it actually assessed quite a bit lower than what he paid for it.
I mean,
Not knowing that,
oh, well, we had another gentleman do this last year, and I mean, actually, we have the ability to bring the value up to what he paid for
We
it.
don't recommend that, but.
Okay, well, then based on that, Mr. Chair, on parcel RPH, I believe that's an I, 2002501, I make a motion, we uphold the assessed value.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Tuttle. Actually, the land went up a little and the house went down. And we're within $4,000 of last year's value.
Mr. Chair, on parcel RPRCPM 7000200, make a motion that we uphold the assessed value.
Have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, let's go back to GVP. The mobile homes. All right.
You good? You wanted?
Yep.
I just was waiting until I was told. All right, sorry.
Go ahead.
On this one particularly, this obviously, mobile homes are a sore subject for a lot of people. It's historically they would depreciate in value, normally under normal market, but then for the last several years, like most stick-built homes, they've been going up quite a bit. They haven't been hit as hard as most residential homes until this last year, and where we've seen them triple or quadruple in value. Not only the values themselves, but the number of sales have tripled. This one in particular, I would make note that when the appellant applied a 22 to 23 comparison on their trailers, and there was an issue where he didn't have the trailers in those values, in half the values, and so we provided a breakdown that would be after the Group C comparables. It was a year-to-year comparison. We also sent this to the appellant. We tried to contact them and talk to them first, and couldn't get a hold of them, so we sent this to the email as well to show them. It was a breakdown, the same exact breakdown, it just with the values of the mobile homes in it, so that they could see what the actual changes were. In the subject properties, as you can see, we provided a list, a table with all the subject properties. We did break those into 3 groups, mainly just to give you an idea. When we valued the mobile homes, we didn't want to value them all the same, so we broke them up, and we have 1970s and older mobile homes. We did not go up as much as your newer ones, 2000 and newer, and then also that you've got your sections in the 1980s and 90s that when we adjusted those values, we wanted to adjust them differently according to the sales in those eras. So here we broke that down to reflect that same thing as well. And so we've provided comparables for each of those eras, and we just highlighted the trailers in those as well so that we could point out that there are differences between those. We didn't want to bring the older mobile homes up near as much as we did the newer one, and so we tried to break that out so it would make sense. I don't know if it did or not, but.
Along
Mr.
with-
Moser, maybe just a second. This thing isn't coming up. Can I look at your packet? Thanks.
And along this line, in April of this year, from the Idaho State Tax Commission, we received a letter. It was addressed to the assessor, It states that manufactured homes were out of compliance. We was in the 60 percentile. It needs to be anywhere from 90 to 110. The idea goal is 100%. Right now, we're sitting at about 92%. It means that you guys have worked very hard to bring equity throughout Bannock County with manufactured homes. So I give you kudos for that. And also want us to recognize that if we fall below compliance, then it goes out of our hands. And the state comes in, and they're the ones that sets the value. So I just want that out there on the record as this is being videoed, and people will realize that it's not your office that just all of a sudden says, oh, well, everybody's houses, manufactured homes need to go up. No, this was a declaration from the state of Idaho that give us the opportunity to correct a problem that was here.
I also want to compliment you on your analysis on not just doing a broad swap through here, but breaking them into years, so you're comparing like for like and doing that, so good job on that analysis. We have numerous parcels. What's the best way you want to do this? Can you just pull it out of the package, or do you want me to read them all? What would you like?
I would suggest that we do this as an Appendix A that has all these in our packet, that we add that as Appendix A with all the values.
The parcels and the values.
Would that be all right to work that way?
Okay.
John's looking here for a minute.
Okay. Thanks.
Comments?
Nope.
Motion?
Mr. Chair, on the packet for GDP Boulder Acres, I would propose that we enter that into the record as Exhibit A and uphold the assessed value for the properties listed within that appendix.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey, that being said, we are adjourned for the day.
Wow.